There's a war happening inside your head right now, and you're losing. You're replaying that conversation from 3 days ago, the one where you said the wrong thing, or think you said the wrong thing. You're mentally preparing for a meeting that hasn't started yet. You're imagining worst-case scenarios about a text that hasn't been replied to. Here's the part nobody tells you. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. But somewhere along the way, the protector became the prisoner. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why you overthink, the 6 psychological triggers that keep you trapped in the loop, and the step-by-step framework to finally break free. But first, we need to understand the enemy. Because what we found when we studied 1,000 chronic overthinkers, sex wasn't what anyone expected. Stick with me. My name is Joseph, and for the past 1 year, I've been studying the psychology of rumination and overthinking. Not from a textbook, from the trenches. I used to spend hours, sometimes entire days, trapped inside my own head. I'd replay conversations, analyze every decision, worry about things that hadn't happened and probably never would. Sleep was a battleground. Focus was impossible. Sound familiar? Here's what I learned. Overthinking isn't a personality flaw. It's not just how you are. It's a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. But before we fix it, we have to understand why it happens. And that starts with a concept psychologists call the Zeigarnik Effect. And what I'm about to tell you might explain every sleepless night you've ever had. In the 1920s, a Lithuanian psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik walked into a restaurant in Vienna. She noticed something strange. The waiters could remember complex orders perfectly, but only until the food was delivered. Once the transaction was complete, the memory vanished. Zeigarnik ran experiments and discovered something fundamental about the human brain. We remember unfinished tasks far better than completed ones. Unfinished business creates mental tension. Your brain keeps nagging you until that loop is closed. Here's why this matters for overthinkers. That conversation you're replaying, it feels unfinished. That worry about the future, it's unresolved. That decision you can't stop analyzing, there's no closure. Your brain isn't broken. It's just stuck in open loop mode. And it will keep spinning until you give it closure, or until you learn to close the loop yourself. But here's the catch. Most of us try to close the loop by thinking more. We analyze harder. We replay longer. We dig deeper. That's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. So how do we actually close the loop? That's coming up. But first, let me show you the second trap, the one that turns small worries into full-blown spirals. Here's something fascinating. Your brain releases dopamine, the pleasure chemical, when your emotions swing, high to low, calm to intense, relief to tension. This is why overthinking is so addictive. It's not just painful, it's stimulating. Your brain gets a little hit every time you spiral. You're literally getting addicted to your own anxiety. I want you to think about the last time you had a really bad overthinking session. Chances are, it followed an emotional high or low, a job interview, a difficult conversation, a moment of excitement, followed by doubt. The emotional swing created the opening, and your brain walked right through it. But here's what the most successful people do differently. They don't try to stop the swing. They observe it. Imagine you're watching a storm from inside your house. The wind howls, rain pounds the windows, But you're dry, you're warm, you're watching. That's what it feels like to observe your thoughts instead of becoming them. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds great, but how do I actually do that when I'm in the middle of a spiral? We're getting there. But first, I need to show you the third trap. And this one is the sneakiest of all.
Most self-help advice tells you to break the pattern. Do something different. Take a walk. Take a cold shower. Meditate. Here's the problem. When you're deep in an overthinking spiral, your brain has zero interest in doing something different. It's convinced that if it just thinks harder, it will find the answer. This is what psychologists call pattern disruption resistance. Your brain treats your thoughts like a life or death puzzle. It won't let you walk away until it's solved. So what actually works? Reframe, don't resist. Instead of trying to stop thinking, which never works, try changing the type of thinking you're doing. Here's a specific technique used by top performers. When you catch yourself spiraling, ask yourself one question. Is this thought productive, or is it just painful? A productive thought leads to action. I should prepare for that meeting. I need to apologize to my friend. I should update my resume. A painful thought leads nowhere. Why did I say that? What if they hate me? I'm such an idiot. If the thought is productive, write it down and take action. If it's painful, label it. Say to yourself, there's the painful thought again. And then, let it pass. But here's the thing. Even this doesn't work if you haven't dealt with the fourth trap. And this one is hiding in plain sight. Most people think they overthink because they care too much. They're perfectionists. They have high standards. That's what I believed too, until I realized the truth. Overthinking isn't about caring. It's about control. Your brain has convinced you that if you just analyze enough, worry enough, replay enough, you'll somehow gain control over the outcome. You'll be prepared for every possibility. But here's what's really happening. You're trading actual control for the illusion of control. Let me give you a real example. It's 3 a.m. You're lying awake, worrying about a presentation tomorrow. You're imagining every possible question, every possible objection, every possible failure. Here's the question nobody asks. Does this thinking actually help the presentation? No, because you're exhausted, you're anxious, you're running on fear. The presentation would be better if you were asleep. But your brain doesn't care about the presentation. It cares about feeling in control. This is the hidden stakes reveal. The thing you're actually fighting for isn't a better outcome. It's the feeling of safety right now. Shik's, you see that? Everything changes. Because now you can ask the question that breaks the loop. What would I do right now if I didn't need to feel in control? That question is the door out. But we're not done yet, because there are 2 more traps. And the next one? It's the reason you keep falling back in, even when you think you've escaped. Here's what happens when you partially solve an overthinking spiral. You calm down a little. You take a breath. You tell yourself, okay, I'm fine. And then a new worry appears. Or the old one comes back with a friend. This is called open loop layering, and it's why overthinking feels like whack-a-mole. While you're answering one worry, your brain is quietly planting 3 more. It's not malicious. It's just how the brain works. It's always scanning for threats. So how do you stop the layering? The answer is counterintuitive. Stop trying to close all the loops.
Because the moment you commit to closing every loop, you're back on the hamster wheel. There will always be another worry. Always. Instead, try this. Step 1. Write down every open loop, every worry, every what if. Get it out of your head and onto paper. Step 2. Circle the ones you can actually do something about, right now, today. Step 3. Take one small action on one circled item. Just one. Step 4. For everything else, let it be open. This is called tolerating uncertainty, and it's the single most important skill for chronic overthinkers. I want to read you something. It's from the philosopher Bertrand Russell. One of the symptoms of an approaching nervous breakdown is the belief that one's work is terribly important. If I were a medical man, I should prescribe a holiday to any patient who considers his work important. The same is true for your thoughts. When you believe every thought is terribly important, you'll chase every single one. But they're not all important. Most of them are just noise. We've covered 5 traps so far. The Zeigarnik Effect, emotional swings, pattern disruption, hidden stakes, open loops. There's one more. And this one? It's the reason nothing else works if you skip it.
Here's what most people do when they're caught in an overthinking spiral. They reach for a mini payoff. They check their phone, scroll social media, eat something, watch a video, text a friend. And for a moment, a brief, glorious moment, the thinking stops. The loop pauses. But here's what's really happening. You're training your brain to overthink more. Because your brain learns, if I overthink enough, I get a reward. The reward is relief, and relief comes from distraction. So the overthinking gets worse, so the relief feels better. So you distract more, so the overthinking gets worse. This is the mini payoff illusion. You think you're solving the problem. You're actually making it worse. So what's the alternative? The real payoff isn't distraction. It's completion. When you actually finish something, a task, a conversation, a project, your brain gets a clean dopamine hit. No debt, no interest, just satisfaction. But here's the catch. Completion is harder than distraction. It requires focus. It requires sitting with discomfort. It requires not escaping. This is why most people stay trapped. They choose the easy relief, which creates more pain tomorrow. I want to share something with you. It's a quote from the neuroscientist Dr. Judson Brewer. The reason habits are so hard to break is not because you're weak-willed. It's because your brain has learned that the behavior provides a temporary reward. To break the habit, you have to give the brain a bigger, better reward. For overthinking, the bigger reward isn't distraction. It's peace. It's silence. It's the feeling of being done. But you can't get there by thinking harder. You get there by thinking differently. So let me give you the framework. The exact system that took me from hours of daily spiraling to minutes. And this is the 4-step framework I use every single day. I call it STOP. It's simple, but it works. S. Spot the spiral. The moment you notice you're overthinking, name it. Out loud if you can. I'm spiraling right now. I'm in the loop. This does something magical. It separates you from the thought.
You're no longer in the spiral. You're watching the spiral. Take a breath. Not just any breath. A long, slow exhale. Longer than the inhale. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It tells your body, we're not under attack. O. Observe the thought. Ask yourself, is this thought productive or painful? If it's productive, write it down. If it's painful, label it. Fear, worry, doubt. Labels create distance. P. Proceed with purpose. Ask, what's one small thing I can do right now that moves me forward? Not solves everything, just moves forward. One step. That's it. Spot, take, observe, proceed. But here's the thing. This only works if you practice it when you're not spiraling. You have to build the muscle before you need it. So here's your homework. For the next 7 days, every time you catch yourself overthinking, even a little, run the stop framework. Don't judge yourself, just run the steps. By day 7, something shifts. The spiral loses its power. The loop gets shorter. The silence gets longer. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. It happened for me, and it can happen for you.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few thoughts from people who understood this better than most. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Overthinking is a reaction, a habit, a choice you've made so many times it feels automatic. But it's not automatic, it's learned. And what's learned can be unlearned. The author Anne Lamott wrote, "My mind is a bad neighborhood I try not to go into alone." That's the thing about overthinking. It's dangerous to go alone. But you don't have to. You have tools now. You have frameworks. You have awareness. And finally, the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." Your thoughts are clouds. They pass. They change. They disappear. You are the sky, always there, always still, always watching. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them.
So here's what I want you to take away from this video. Overthinking isn't a life sentence. It's a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. The 6 traps we covered today, the Zeigarnik Effect, emotional swings, pattern disruption, hidden stakes, open loops, mini payoffs. They're not enemies. They're just patterns. And patterns can be rewritten. Your brain isn't broken. It's just been running the same program for too long. And now you have the code to change it. Here's my challenge to you. For the next 24 hours, every time you catch yourself overthinking, just say 3 words. There's the spiral. That's it. Don't fight it. Don't fix it. Just notice it. And then come back to this video. Watch it again. Let it sink in deeper. Because this isn't the kind of thing you learn once. It's the kind of thing you practice. If this video helped you today, here's what I'd ask. Subscribe if you want more videos like this. Hit the like button so YouTube shows it to someone else who needs it. And comment below with one word. Sky. Just sky. As a reminder that you're not your thoughts. You're the sky they pass through. And if you're ready to go deeper, Click the video on screen right now. It's called the 3 a.m. protocol. What to do when you can't sleep. Because I know that's when the spiral hits hardest. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. And remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them.